This morning on a very special Good Morning Killer Bunnies.
There's an illness on a planet going on, and we must get the cure.
The essential mechanics required to add the Violet booster.
And let's learn how to play Killer Bunnies Heroes vs. Villains Casual Play Instruction. Good morning, Killer Bunnies, and welcome to Good Morning Killer Bunnies, the fan show made by fans for fans. Man, I wish the lighting was always like this. So let's start off the day with a nice Killer Bunnies, The Next Generation, the next episode. Killer Bunnies and the Code of Honor. Enjoy.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the SS Sky. Its continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no bunny has gone before. Pew.
There's an illness on a planet going on, and we must get the cure. So that is why we're going to this technologically inferior planet. I guess they already had first contact, and none of this violates the Prime Directive. They're about to beam board the ship. Ooh. Introducing the King of Siam, Lutan! Ooh. Yes, it is I, the one who has the vaccine that you need, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, well, I got your vaccine right here. Oh, yeah, that's no good. Yes, yeah. Now that that's happened, let us have some entertainment. That female interests me. We need the vaccine that will save dozens more lives, and in exchange, here's a toy horse. What I really want is to see your holodeck. I want your chief of security to show it to me. Show me what you can do with it. Begin spar sequence. We fight. And it can hit back. Hey, you do it. You impress me. Thank you for showing me your ship, Captain. Yeah, I just made such a good impression on him that he kidnapped her. Open communications. Hey, that wasn't very friendly, friend. Hey, I thought I was your buddy, guy. Why aren't they answering? Captain, perhaps they won't hurt her. So, I can't replicate this vaccine too. We actually need it from them. Yes, I agree that was the whole point of this mission. Now that that's clear. So, Wesley is interested in Starfleet stuff, but remember you said he's not allowed to come on the bridge? So, you ordered him off the bridge, so he cannot come on the bridge anymore, per your orders. Yes. Yeah, so, I get it. Captain Picard, I never stepped on the bridge. Don't worry, Captain. I'll follow your orders and get rid of this rapscallion troublemaker. Oh, such terribleness having someone who is a teenager learning all this stuff around you, just absorbing everything that we need to know, like a sponge being at that perfect age of being a sponge, just learning everything. All right, I get it. Wesley Crusher, sit next to LaForge. All right, yeah, woo, yeah. These guys are totally civilized people. They're just a few centuries behind where we are. Instead of killing everyone and blowing something up, they just took what they want instead and just left. Perhaps if we asked politely to get her back. You're right, number one. Lutan, this is Captain Picard. Captain, If you want her, you must come and visit and get her.
I vote you go, Captain.
All right. Joy, you're coming with me. It is so good to see you. This is my wife. I would like to see the member of my crew. Yes, we will have a banquet. No, no. I've seen enough stories to know that that means she will be the banquet. I want to see her alive and well now.
Yar, it's me, Captain.
Yes, I can hear that it is you, Yar. I've come to say that your society is very nice.
Yeah, woo!
And Lutan, you seem like a swell guy. Now, with that out of the way, I request my security chief officer back. I'm afraid I can't do that, Picard. I'm in love with her.
What? I'll kill you! I'll kill you! I'll kill you!
How about let us not do that? How about I don't give you the vaccine if one of these women don't kill the other?
So you're actually attracted to Lutan? Yar, but not like yar. Hey, remember those dozens of deaths that are happening on that one planet? That's why we're trying to get that vaccine. It turns out it's actually millions.
Wow, that really raises the stakes a whole lot.
Yeah, I think Yar can handle herself. Okay. Yep.
I'm going to tell you a joke now. A young man wants to join Starfleet. The officer says, "Where were you born?" He says, "On Earth." The Starfleet officer says, "What part?" He responds, "All of me."
Is that it? Jordy and Data report for duty.
Yeah, he said duty.
Now that's funny. Ooh. Gentlemen, I want you to take a look at all the weapons and see what they're made of and what kind of chances Yar has with them.
Yes, Captain. Now, that's a funny joke.
Yeah, it does sound like a joke, hey? Why don't we just beam the vaccine up?
That's what we always keep trying to tell you.
So we analyzed the weapons, and they're poisoned.
Dun, dun, dun!
So here are some weapons that you can use. Hey, this is real good timing because we're kind of short-handed here on the bridge. Everyone seems to be, well, not here. So why don't you go ahead and take a seat?
Oh wow, really? Woo!
Ooh. I'm back on the ship, and the captain has some kind of master plan.
There will be a fight, and it will be to the death.
Yar, aren't I usually carrying a gun? Yar. Oh, come on.
Now remember, those are poisoned. Sorry, bro. Here you go.
Yar, 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 yar. I got her, Captain.
Well, I can't say I approve of you poisoning someone.
All right, here's the cure.
You stole my chief of security, and I steal your dead wife. Can we beam the vaccine aboard? Yes, I am satisfied with the goings-ons here.
I'm not dead, but I was. And when someone dies, the marriage dissolves. So we ain't married no more. Instead, I want that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever, I have my honor. And also Yar, right?
Yar, no. Fine, then you can be my number 2 husband.
So, let that be a lesson to you. You may be technologically advanced, but we are civilizationally advanced. Whoop. Well, it's good that everything is back to normal. Oh, right. You see,
when everyone abandoned the bridge, because there's only like 6 of us who run the bridge ever. I asked the one who had any interest if he would be interested in helping out. Perhaps he'll get another chance another time, on another day, at a later time. Oh, right, yes, okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity. You're welcome back anytime. So, where shall we head? We just got the vaccine. We need to give it to that planet. Oh, right. And just for knowing that, you do the honors, Wrecker. Yes, sir. Engage.
All right, let's get to Carrot Top Academy with their 4th Flows Fundamentals.
Welcome to the 4th episode of Flows Fundamentals. This episode is on the essential mechanics required to add the Violet booster. This will be quite brief, as we only have one mechanic that we need to cover in terms of fundamental mechanics, and that is the specialty bunnies. Specialty bunnies are a new type of bunny that come in 3 forms. You get a single specialty bunny, which is more what we're used to seeing, but they also come in doubles or triples. Quite simply, they have no color, but they can form triplets very easily by type. Consider specialty as yet another type like sinister or gleeful, but these bunnies do not have a color, so they cannot form triplets with other bunnies besides specialties. This brings up a question of how do double and triple bunnies actually work? For all interactions except for forming triplets, consider it a single bunny, which keeps things quite simple. It only dies once, it only takes up 1 space, it's gambled as 1 bunny for Poverty Poker, and it costs only $10 once we add the pawn shop from the orange booster. This has been the 4th episode of Flows Fundamentals on the essential mechanics required to add the violet booster. And as always, Jeff bless.
So I've been doing a mini-series of the casual rule set that comes with Heroes vs. Villains, a part of the Killer Bunnies in the Ultimate Odyssey line of games. So today, what I'd like to do is get to the rule set that comes with it. So here's how to play. Hi, welcome to Watch Me Teach You How to Play a Game. I'm a Canadian person, and let's learn how to play Killer Bunnies Heroes vs. Villains Casual Play Instructions. Now before we begin, this is, a subset of Killer Bunnies in the Ultimate Odyssey. So if that interests you, if you have cards to play but you don't know these rules, here, let's learn how to play. The goal of the game is to win. So the set comes with 3 different cards. You're going to unwrap all of them and shuffle them all together to form one single draw pile. Or you can just do that and then kind of all shove them all together. Anyways, you will end up with a draw pile, somewhat like this. Take one of the D6, D12, and D20 dice and put them by the draw pile. Punch out the blue and red scoring squares and put them near the dice. Each player is dealt 7 cards from the draw pile. Heroes vs. Villains is a 2 to 4 player game. For our example, we will deal out for 2 players. So, once dealt, each player is going to look through their hand, and any resource cards that they find, they're going to set aside and draw back up to 7 cards. And now is a good time to mention that at any point when you draw a resource card, you will immediately set it aside to be used for the remainder of the game. If you did not receive any resource cards in the initial deal, you may trade your hand in for a new hand. The purpose of a resource is to be able to pay a card cost. Now the card cost is found at the upper right corner of each card. So on this card, for example, you see 1, 2, 3 technology cards are required to play it, plus an extra 2 of any other card. So in our case, we have 1, 2, 3 technologies, plus 1 crops, and 1 universal, which counts as a wild. So in this case, you can pay the cost without any penalty. So to be clear, you'd need 3 technologies plus 2 of anything. So in this case, it counts as a wild, not to be confused with needing a wild to use, which is not a requirement at any point in this game. So let's say this is our play area. This is a game where you need to decide in advance which cards you wish to have played down. You will be playing down basically 2 rounds in advance. The first card you pick will be the first card that you play when it comes to be your turn. Now, of course, I choose to play this card because it has a 1/2 crop, and I can use a 1 crop and a 1 universal to count as that crop. Again, without penalty, which we will get to in a bit. You then have to decide the second card that you wish to play. I'm going to choose a special card. Now, when choosing a card, it may be a good idea to look for cards that are bunnies. In this case, the right side has the bunny icon. This icon means this is a bunny. Now, bunnies are important because you will see that there are other cards that require a bunny to play on top of the resources it also needs to be able to play. Now, be sure you understand that once the cards are laid down, these cards cannot be picked back up again. You are committed to playing this card first. When it comes back to your turn, you're committed to playing this card second. And of course, if you don't remember, you can look. Another thing to note is that bunnies are not necessarily just bunnies. They also have special abilities that they're able to do. So be sure that you're reading each card to make sure you don't miss any of that. Another important thing to note is that some cards at the bottom will say Tournament Play on it. This is in reference to being used as an expansion for Killer Bunnies in the Ultimate Odyssey, the regular rules. So this can be used as an expansion for that. If you choose to just play with the casual rule set, which is being shown here today, you may disregard Tournament Play. And now that you've chosen your cards, let's learn how to play. First, with the D12, roll the die to determine who will go first. Whoever that first player is will take their top run card, flip it over, and in our case we have a bunny, so what we're going to do is we're going to place this in our bunny circle. So any bunnies you get will go in this row. You're going to slide the next card up, take a card from the draw pile, and choose from your cards which will be the next card to play after the new top run card. When it comes back to my turn, I flip the next card up, and this being a special card, I'm either able to pay the cost and play it, or because it is a special card, I'm able to save it, which in this case, I will do. Now, if it were to come to your turn, and you were unable to fulfill the cost, in this case, we don't have 3 resources in the first place, the card would simply go into the discard pile. Now that we have a broad understanding of how the game plays, let's go through specific card types. So a run card is a card that must be laid down, run through, in order to be played. A special card, as we saw, is able to be run through. When it's flipped over, you have the option to play it, in this case meeting the conditions of having a bunny and being able to pay the resource cost, and you play it just by doing what it says. Or you can run it through, and as we saw in the earlier example, we can set it aside in our player's space to be played later when we are able to meet the resource cost. Another option to do with the special cards is you can play a special card directly from your hand instead of flipping the top run card. So you can have 2 cards down, and if this is a card that you want to and are able to play instead of the card in the top run, you can instead play this from your 5 card hand. Another card is the very special card. Same thing, you can run it through. You can play it when you flip it over. You, of course, now that it's run through, are able to save it, or at any point on anyone's turn, if you are able to pay the costs required, you're able to play it. A very special card does not count towards your turn. You simply play the card when it makes sense to do so, and draw another card from the draw pile. A nice thing about special and very special cards is you are able to play as many saved ones as you have if you are able to pay the resource cost. Now let's go into a little bit of detail about how resources work. So when you draw a card, and if you wish to play it, you must pay the resource cost. This is a bunny, and you would need 3 technologies and 2 of any other kind of resource to play this card without penalty. So we see here we have 1 technology, so we're definitely going to use that, and we're going to set that aside just to remind ourselves that it is used. And of course, we're able to use a universal. 2 of these are the any resource, so we choose whichever any resource we want. I'll take 1, 2. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the resource costs paid. And now we need a 3rd technology, which we do not have. However, we do have other resources that we can use in its stead. What we do is we take one of those other resources and trash it. And by that, of course, I mean put it in the discard pile. But you are now able to play the card you wished to play. And now other people have gone, and now it comes to our turn. Now at the start of our turn, the resources we have remaining with us reset so that we may be able to use them again during this round. Which means that if you have a very special card that you wish to play, however, you had used more resources than that card's costs could cover, then that means you are unable to play that very special card until it comes to your turn again and the resources reset. Now let's talk about cities. To start, you will know a city card by its city icon on the right side of the card. Not to be confused with a city modifier, which is also oriented horizontally, which says on it city modifier, but also, of course, does not have a city icon. You'll also notice there are symbols underneath the numbers. For our purpose, these do nothing, they hold no importance. When it comes to the player's turn, and they flip a card, and it's a city, they must pay the resource cost. This is 1 technology, and 5 anything else. But also, there is a discard cost. So you need to have 6 resources to play the card, and you must discard 2 of the resources in order to get the city built. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, when a city gets built, you must put at least 1 bunny into it. The ability to place bunnies is determined by how many hit points the city has. So this has 8 hit points, so it has the ability to hold bunnies that have up to 8 hit points total. So in our case, we have a bunny with a hit point of 5 and a hit point of 2. So you have the ability to take both these bunnies and place them in this city. Now let's talk about playing weapons, using a city weapon as our example. So in this case, you would need to have a bunny and a city to play it, plus you need to be able to pay the resource cost. So let's suppose our opponent was able to do that, and they played this weapon on our city. You may have seen that combat works a little bit differently in this version of the Killer Bunny system, as opposed to Quest of the Magic Carrot. In this system, what happens is this is a weapon level 8. So if we were to roll the same number or higher, no damage is taken, and the city weapon is simply discarded. However, if the roll was lower, the damage to the city will be the difference between what he rolled on the d12 and the level of the weapon. So this is a weapon level 8, minus 7. So the city takes 1 damage. So it now has 7 hit points. And then, of course, this is discarded. So in this case, because the city has 7 value, these bunnies combined equals 7. So the city is still allowed to have both bunnies in it. However, if another weapon were to be played, this one being level 10, and the roll was again lower, this time by a difference of 2, the city takes another 2 hits, and it is now at 5, which means it is unable to hold both bunnies within the city. So one of the bunnies would have to leave. And in this case, a bunny leaving a city is actually going into the discard pile. So any bunnies lost in a city are lost to the discard pile. And of course, any ground weapons played on a bunny are played the same way. If you roll lower than the number, then the bunny is simply lost. Important to note, city weapons can only be played on cities, and ground weapons can only be played on bunnies in the bunny circle itself. It cannot be played on bunnies in the city. And of course, if the damage taken to the city equals the amount that the city even is, then of course that city is completely lost as well as its occupants. But let's say the city only takes 1 more hit of damage in our example. The bunny is discarded, but now what happens to the city? It simply stays where it is for the time being until someone claims it with their own bunny. An abandoned city, of course, can continue to be attacked, and any abandoned city may be claimed by a player with at least 1 bunny in the bunny circle. And of course, they may only claim that city on their turn. They would put a bunny in that city, and that city would then move to their part of the city circle. And you'll know you have won when you have at least 4 bunnies in the bunny circle and 4 cities in the city circle. For an easier alternative, try getting 3 bunnies and 3 cities. And for a more challenging game, 5 cities and 5 bunnies. And of course, as with any game of this nature, be sure you're reading the cards, because most of the cards tend to have special abilities, special powers, special things that it can do. And you don't want to miss that. So join me next time as I play through Killer Bunnies, Heroes vs. Villains. See you next time. Bye. That's it for this week. See you next time on the next Good Morning Killer Bunnies. Bye. I invite you to contribute. Please send an email to thergcreation@gmail.com. Also, come join us on the Facebook group, The Bunny Circle. Okay, now that that's been established,
Doctor, there must be a cure.
no, we're not doing that again.